Toyota says it's ready for the EV race. Let's get to Phil LeBeau now with a special guest. Hi, Phil.
Hey, Joe. Let's bring in Bob Carter. He is the VP of Sales for Toyota North America on a very important day. As the Shanghai Auto Show is going on, Bob, you guys are essentially worldwide saying, here we come when it comes to electric vehicles. Let's talk about the concept that you unveiled overnight. This is the BZ4X. What's the idea here, and when might we see this here in the United States?
Well, Phil, thank you. It's great to have global auto shows back in course after the pandemic. But the BZ4X will be the first vehicle of our sub-brand, BZ, which means Beyond Zero. But we're entering the full BEV market with both brands. A month ago, we also announced a product for our Lexus division. So we will have two full BEVs on the market here in the U.S. in 2022.
Bob, I have to be honest with you. Perhaps the top question I get from people when they're out looking at vehicles is, why doesn't Toyota have a pure electric vehicle? I mean, we hear from Ford, we hear from GM, we hear from Volkswagen. Obviously, Tesla's been in the market for a number of years. Why did Toyota wait so long to say, okay, here comes our push of pure electric vehicles?
Well, Phil, when you combine all of our alternative fuel vehicles, the hybrid, the plug-in hybrid, the fuel cells, we sell more electrified vehicles in the U.S. and around the globe than all other OEMs combined. We have been in the full BEV market twice before. We introduced a RAV4 back in 1997, and we had a second generation of the RAV4 back in 2012. But both of those vehicles, while they were good vehicles, they entered the market a little bit prematurely. We think the market at this time is at the tipping point where consumers are ready for full battery electric vehicles, so we're adding it to our portfolio. You know, a full battery electric vehicle may not be the right choice for every consumer, so that's why we're approaching the market through a portfolio of offering hybrids, plug-in hybrids, fuel cells, as well as BEVs. We think that that's the best way to meet consumers' needs here in the U.S.
And to be clear, to explain to our audience, hybrid electric vehicles or electrified vehicles, not pure electric vehicles, they outsell the pure electric vehicles. But one thing that Toyota has long been pushing is the idea of hydrogen fuel cell vehicles being that next great horizon where the growth is going to really kick in over the next decade. Have you banked too much on hydrogen fuel cells actually taking off, or is the reality here that, okay, it's a great technology if it can be harnessed, but you guys were way too early with things like the Mirai and some of the other vehicles that you've been working on?
Well, Phil, as you mentioned, it is a great technology. It offers ranges over 400 miles. It's quick refueling. It's absolutely zero emission. The only thing that comes out of the tailpipes are a few drops of pure water. But the limiter is hydrogen refueling stations. In the state of California, where we offer Mirai and we have another several commercial vehicles on the market, today there's only about 45 locations where consumers can refuel their Mirais. We are advancing that distribution system. We've signed agreements with companies such as Air Liquide and Shell Oil that will continue to expand that hydrogen distribution. And again, we think it's a very viable technology, but will take some time to get that hydrogen distribution throughout the states in the Northeast. More to come on that.
Bob, one last question because we're pushing up against a break here. The market right now is at 39 days supply here in the United States. Do you expect it to stay this tight over the next couple of months through the summer selling season?
It will stay tight, Phil, and there's two reasons for it. The demand in the industry right now is near record pace. We just had an all-time record first quarter and a record March, and April is showing up the same way. But the supply chains coming out of the pandemic are fragile. So in our case, for Toyota and Lexus brands, April, May actually looks like to be good months, but the supply chain is still a little unclear when we get out into the months of June and July. So we're working on that right now and trying to firm up that availability. But overall, I'm very optimistic with the way 2021 is shaping up.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.